Okay, so we are here in Ungoro playing Season of Discovery, trying to see if we can find some devil sores. I'm currently working on my soloing as a rogue. I've gotten 6 leathers so far on my own. And yeah, I just wanted to record this video to try and see if I can put together some thoughts about Season of Discovery in general. We have Season 4 coming up this Thursday. It's Tuesday while I'm recording this, Tuesday evening. And I hear from the Americans that they are starting to see some changes being put on the live realms now. So I think they're like making some changes to vendors and stuff. Nothing major, but enough for some people to get excited, I guess. And I'm just leveling bow skills. Yeah. So, in general, I would say that Season of Discovery has been... Season of Discovery has been a weird journey. I think Phase 3 has been universally slammed. Well, almost universally slammed. I think I've heard from 1 or 2 people that they kind of like it, or that there's something about it that they find enjoyment in, or that it's, you know, Sunken Temple was new in some ways. Now, I've been a bit complainy, I guess you could say. Definitely a bit of a downer. And not since just Phase 3, but throughout Season of Discovery. And the reason for this is that I don't think that they have realized the amount of changes that people were expecting or wanting to see with a reinvention of vanilla in this version that they call Classic. And what I mean by that is simply that this talent tree is, if not directly one-to-one copy from what you saw in vanilla or classic WoW, it is it's pretty damn close to it, and that's the same for all classes. I think we've seen a few changes, minor tweaks and changes to the talent trees, but for instance, it still says improved backstab here, like not even changing the tooltip so that it says this also buffs your mutilate. And I know that if I look at the mutilate rune, it will tell me down at the bottom there, mutilate benefits from all talents and effects that trigger from or modify backstab unless otherwise specified. That's great, but that's a cop-out. These runes are TBC, Wrath, and Cataclysm, from what I understand. Abilities that have just been put or launched into vanilla. Consequences be damned, which is of course why we're seeing so many balancing issues now. Now, vanilla is sort of the unbalanced. It is the Wild West of WoW. Definitely. Like, this early version of WoW was not meant to be balanced. It was just, as we've heard from the developers multiple times saying, it was just a bunch of dudes doing shit that they thought were cool. Like, world buffs, for instance, were never thought to be the integral part of the WoW experience that they have come to be since then, for at least at least on the classic or vanilla side of things. And for the life of me, I can't find the source for this anymore. But I read or saw somewhere that one of the developers confirmed that the reason why we don't see any changes to the talent trees is that they are sharing core with, or an integral part of the code base or whatever it is, with the actual era servers, as in the real vanilla or the real classic servers, not real vanilla. Classic, Blizzard's version of vanilla. And this is a bad excuse. This is not something we should accept. I mean, it's fair enough that they say that this is why they can't make changes to this, but that this is a lie. They can make any change they want. They're Blizzard. They're one of the most successful gaming companies in the world. It is their game. They own the entire code base. They have everything open to them. They could easily put the manpower in to change this. Maybe they don't have the power to do it, as in they don't have the manpower to do it. Maybe they don't have the capabilities, programming capabilities. Maybe that's the reason. But it is not true to say that Blizzard cannot make changes to talent trees in a game that they own and control. as a billion-dollar company. They can make changes to talent trees. This is simply not acceptable, and we should not accept it. We should tell them when they say to us that this is the reason, and you must understand, and you have to accept that you're going to see like weird, not very vanilla like spells be added to vanilla, and then you can have fun with that. And I'll grant it, like some of it is fun. I am having a little bit of fun trying out some of these things, no doubt. But I'm also still holding their feet to the fire, as in I have certain expectations and demands. Oh, that's too bad. Someone else picked it up. He's been here for many hours now. I saw him in the late afternoon as well, and it's 20 past 10. Diligent farmer, let's say. Okay. Where were we? Talent trees, right. So their excuse is that they can make changes to these talent trees. They simply cannot, because the code base is locked or whatever it is. And this is a bullshit excuse. This is simply just an excuse, and it's a bad one, because we know that they have the money and the resources if they wanted to. So what they're really saying is they don't want to, as in they don't prioritize making the changes that might be good for this game. They don't prioritize putting in the actual work. And they don't care if this product is subpar, even though they're asking the same amount of money for it, subscription-wise. And that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable, and we should not accept it. We should keep telling. I'm not saying complain and whine and be like obnoxious about it. I'm not trying to be obnoxious here. I am. It might sound that way, but I am actually trying to be constructive. As in, what I'm saying is they should make changes to these talent trees. It is simply stupid that this weapon expertise talent, for instance, this is just a minor one. I have better examples from other classes, but I'm playing a rogue right now, so this is what I have to show you. Weapon expertise increases your skill with sword, fist, and dagger weapons by 3. Great. But then I go over to mace specialization, and then I see I get skill with maces increased by 1 over there. Like, then why is this not the talent that gives me also an extra chance to well, a 1% chance of Wind Fury proc, and also 1 skill point in swords, or something like that. Why is this talent here? This is bad design. It's vanilla has bad talent design. It simply does. It has great world design. It's why we still play the game. It's why there are so many people that are drawn to this version of the world. But we live with, in this world, the fact that this version of WoW has the worst talents. And you can see that by the fact that both TBC and Wrath tried to clean up big time. Like, they made massive overhauls to the talent trees. Both TBC and Wrath. And Cataclysm went even further, and I kind of lost interest at that point. But TBC talent trees are so much better, and Wrath talent trees are perhaps even better than that. Wrath makes some other changes that I'm not a fan of, and that's why it's sort of it's going in the wrong direction in Wrath. But there is no doubt in my mind that we do need to see talent tree changes in an actual Vanilla Plus or Classic Plus experience. And I know that Season of Discovery, they keep saying this, is not really that. It's like their first foray into this side of WoW development. And that's fair. That's okay. If that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do, and that's totally cool. They can do whatever they want. But we should still be, we the players, we the subscribers, we who pay this whole thing, keep it going in many ways. No, I shouldn't go down that trail. We should make our opinions heard. We should make our voices heard and make ourselves clear when it comes to what we expect them to do, given the resources we know they have, because we have given them these resources for the past 20 years of playing their games, 30 years for some of us, and it is unreasonable. It is simply unreasonable for them to deliver so little in return. I know that it's a business and they operate to make money, but insofar as that means get away with creating as little as possible for the money that they charge us, and like talking about the fact that subscriptions haven't really risen in price and all this stuff, that's a cop out. That's a bad excuse. But this is definitely the thing that annoys me the most about Seasons of Discovery. It's like some people say they made too many changes and they've gone down a bad road, and it's not vanilla anymore, it's not classic anymore, it's not the WoW that they love. And I think that's okay. Like, you can feel that way, and you can be interested in absolutely zero changes, and you can have or minor changes or a few changes or hashtag a few changes or whatever it is. And it's fine. Like, if that's your deal, then you do that, and you say that, and you ask for that. But given what it is, and this is a version of WoW where they are making changes, they're making quite a lot of changes. They're changing one of the legendary weapons already, and while they say they're not going to change Thunder Fury, I mean, come on, we all know that that has to happen at some point, because eventually ST loot was so good that it's going to compete with some of the basic loot that we had in MC. So they had to buff MC loot as well, and they're not buffing Thunder Fury. This means that MC loot, maybe, or Blackwing Lair loot, or AQ 40, or maybe even AQ 20 loot, will compete with Thunder Fury when it comes to being a weapon that you'll want. Now, I know that you eventually do replace Thunder Fury, and it doesn't stay as a must-have weapon. I know that the end game we go for what is it? The one Gressel Dawn of Ruin from Naxxramas, and then the other one, what is that? King something? Kingslayer, I feel like it's called. King's Fall, is that it? No. Well, it's Gressel Dawn of Ruin. Oh, the Hunger and Cold, yeah. So it's Gressel Dawn of Ruin, and then the Hunger and Cold you put in your offhand. So you do this in main hand, this in offhand. Like, I know that that's where we're going, and that's not Thunder Fury. And that's fine. That's okay. I can live with that. What are these weapons? There are 73.1 DPS, right? And Thunder Fury is 53 point something DPS, 53.4 if I remember correctly. We can check that if we want, but it doesn't matter. The point is, if you're going to buff everything around Thunder Fury and not Thunder Fury, you're going to end up in a situation where this supposedly legendary weapon is going to get down, like, deprioritized by its main wielders in favor of other weapons, and that just is not going to sit well with the player base. Like, even the people who don't play classes that can use Thunder Fury are going to think, what the hell is up with that? Like, given the amount of work that it takes to get a Thunder Fury, like the amount of MC runs you're going to have to do, presumably, I don't know if they're going to change the drop rate. I mean, I guess not, if they say they're not making changes to it. But if it is the case that they're not going to make any changes to Thunder Fury, then that really shows us once again the trash mentality that they have about this Season of Discovery. And I'm not saying that devs are bad people or anything. I understand that they're probably trying to do their best given the very, very reduced amount of resources that Blizzard, the company, Activision Blizzard, has given them to work with. And that is why we sort of have to... that's why we had to wait for Phase 4 for so much longer than what was sensible. I get that they wanted to breathe some life into Cataclysm, but again, I mean, it's their release schedule. They could have changed it to be whatever they wanted to. So the Season of Discovery team clearly doesn't have the manpower to make the changes or the improvements that they should be working on. And that overall has meant that Season of Discovery has been, to me, a disappointment in some areas where I would have expected there wouldn't be. Because I see that as being the easy part. Making talent tree changes and making sure that items are on par with the performance that we're having or the performance we're expected to have in raids and PvE situations. I don't know anything about PvP. You'll have to talk to people who know something about that to get more on that. But the issue that I'm having is that this is the easy stuff, right? The talent trees are supposed to be the easy stuff. Tweaking this stuff to make it look better, just look at what TBC did. Like the style, you don't have to copy the TBC talent trees. I don't think that would make sense. I don't think that would be a good idea. But you could at the very least try and draw some inspiration from that and then try and implement it over here. And again, if we're tied to the era core, and that's why we can't make changes, as they say, then like unshackle it from the era core. Like separate the two. Like you branch off. I remember that much from my programming days. You branch off and you create a different project, right? Same base at some point back in time, right? It's like a common ancestor. That's what they're supposed to do, and that's what they should be doing. And that is, I guess, to some extent what they have done, because we have seen some minor changes to talent trees. I forget which ones, but I know that there have been a few. And we should see more of that. But again, I consider this the easy stuff. The harder stuff that everyone expected are things like new battlegrounds, new instances, new dungeons, new raids. And while we've gotten some, let's say, interesting revamps of old dungeons so that they've become raid zones, as in we've had Black Fathom Deeps, we've had Nomergan, and we've had Sunken Temple. That's all well and good, and I think that's cool that they're doing that. That they take something that's they've taken 3 instances that people have not seen too much of, let's say. I know that ferals have farmed Gnomeregan for ages for the Crow Pummeler or whatever it is. Like if you're a parser, you had to have that weapon because it's Biss, right? Has that. Oh yeah, I can't do that here, but oh, maybe I can actually. If we do this is the old style Gnomeregan, right? And it's Crow Pummeler, and it's this one. Yeah, so increases your attack speed by 50% for 30 seconds. Cool. Apparently, ferals really love that. Why wouldn't they? So what I'm saying is they should have done more with this. Like we're getting a new dungeon in Phase 4. Think about how bad that is compared to what sort of expectations we were led to have when Season of Discovery was announced. We were made to think this is going to be like the last bit of vanilla stuff that we do before we get the actual Classic Plus experience. Do you have any idea what it means to be running for half a year, more than half a year now, inside this game mode and not see anything new? Like, the spells are not even new, right? We have mage healing, which is awkward AF, if you ask me. I play a mage also, and I've tried it. It's super strange. Really weird rhythm, and maybe I'm just a fool for not being able to get into it. It's not that I can't make it work. Like, it's fine, but it's clearly not made by people who have the time to really get into designing it properly so that you don't mess it up and you don't make it awkward and you make it feel like it has a natural flow state. Like, look at the way classes were designed to function in something like TBC. Like, you could tell that you had really experienced and highly focused game developers working on that project because it was so focused on introducing flow states that were just enjoyable to you as the player, right? And that's what we're not really seeing with Season Discovery. It's super awkward how the different runes work together. Like, sometimes they don't even know which slots they should put them in, right? Like, we had the situation with the warriors where now they're fixing it, right? You had endless rage on the hands, but then you also had victory rush, you had single-minded fury, you had quick strike, which was the two-handed rune of choice in Phase 1. You had lots of things that you wanted to use on your hands, and then Endless Rage, right? And now they're moving Endless Rage to the head slot, which the head slot didn't even have a Fury rune. Like, it didn't have anything for Fury. It had Taste for Blood for the arms or two-handed warriors, right? For proccing Overpower. And while that's cool, it's like that's not what Fury wanted. That it had nothing. It was a dead rune slot for Fury, and like, is that good design, or is this what we should expect from a company like Blizzard? I really don't think so. And again, there's nothing personal in this. I don't have any issue with the fact that they're doing this. My issue is that people accepted this, and they keep accepting it, and they keep thinking this is okay for such an enormously successful company, made successful by us, the players, the subscribers, to fob us off with this. Like, this is simply, this is too relaxed of an approach to game development from a game company that should have, and really ought to have, the focus and the dedication, because they certainly have the resources to hire people with this focus and dedication, to be able to see that these are changes that simply need to be made for this project to even come anywhere close to being operational or acceptable. Oh, I don't have crippling poison. That's really bad. We're gonna have to apply that quickly. And before someone else snipes him, I'm just gonna do it myself. Oh, well, I guess not. I managed to proc deadly poison on that. That's fun. So let's do this. There you go. Now it's mine. And I'll drag it over to that tree, I think. Yeah, you can piss off. Oh my god. Fear. Okay. Oh, now it pissed off. Those two are not gonna aggro on me, right? Like, aggro in Classic is super awkward, man. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I don't play... I play private servers more than I play, or I have done. Now I play Classic more. But, oh, fuck's sake. Missed. Okay, so that didn't aggro on me. But there are some bugs here. Yeah, we'll have to make this work. This is awkward. I'm dragging him into bug territory at the moment. Yeah, so the point that I'm trying to make here is that Blizzard really should know these things. Like, this is not something that I'm expecting should be news to them. That players expect more from something like Season of Discovery, and they should expect more, and it's okay for them to expect more. Because Blizzard has the money, the resources, they probably also have the talent. I'm unfamiliar with how their hiring and staffing situation has been recently, but I know that they used to, and they certainly, again, have the money to rehire. We know that Metzen rejoined them, right? So, yeah. It should be possible for this company to do better than what they've done with Season of Discovery. That's all I'm saying. And I don't have a problem with how they do the WoW situation. Otherwise, like, I'm completely disinterested in retail, and I've played, I think, 2 hours, 3 hours of Cataclysm Classic. I played a bit more of Wrath, which is strange because I think Wrath is far too easy to be fun. Like, it's way too easy. And I understand that that some people say that well, Vanilla's like, I'm soloing a Devil Sword while I'm saying that. Vanilla is obviously the easiest version of WoW. Maybe not counting Nexramas, but Vanilla is mostly the easier version of WoW. And I guess that's also why when I come back to a game that I really haven't played that much since I quit back in, I think it was a week into Warlords of Draenor, then I just lost interest in playing this game. Or at least the official releases of it. We've been here a while, so not really the rate that I'm looking for, but whatever. Yeah, so anyway, back to what I was saying. What I was saying was that the effort that they put into Season of Discovery has been not satisfying, because what we expected was certainly a brush up of the talents. I think most people would agree that we would have expected some sort of brush up here, right? We expected something something that had more to do with the strengths of Vanilla, and that is its world. So the world design of this game, like, I still remember my first time, like, I started out as a Night Elf Hunter because I was super edgy as a teenager. And like looking, I was in Shadow Glen and I looked at the map for the first time, and then let's just see if this is gonna kill me. No, it's not. I looked at I was in Shadow Glen, and then I looked at the map and I thought, oh shit, this game is really big. And then I zoomed out and I saw this, and I was like, okay. And then I zoomed out again and I saw this, and I was like, oh dude, I don't even know what the fuck is going on here. Very impressive world design, like the scope and the size and the fact that they made everything work together seamlessly in so many ways. It's insanely impressive. And given that we all came off the back of Warcraft 3, the real-time strategy, and we wanted more, like just more of whatever this IP could be, whatever this IP could be turned into. It was so impressive to be looking at these things and just seeing like how this game could unfold into something like a Tolkien-esque fantasy world. And that is what they went for. You could tell by some of the ways in which they've written some of the quests and the dialogue and the characters. It's clearly this high medieval fantasy, or medieval high fantasy is the way you say that. And like, so when I say play their strength, like do more with the world, what I mean to say, or what I mean to point out, is the fact, again, that they have not done any of the easy stuff, which I think is the talent trees, fixing spells and spell normalizations, giving casters similar scaling to melees. Like, basic issue is that my agility gives me attack power, my strength gives me attack power. For casters, intellect does not give you spell damage, and it does not give you plus healing. So my basic stats are cool, and their basic stats are less cool. Like, they do something positive for them, but I get twice the amount out of my basic stats, right? 12 agility on my belt, which is not the best belt, but it's 12 agility, and 12 agility gives me crit, gives me armor, gives me chance to score a critical hit, chance to dodge as well, attack power, and critical strike chance. And all of this I get from my base stat, right? Now I know that intellect gives you more mana, and it gives you more chance to crit with spells, and it also incidentally gives you faster rate of learning weapon skills, but who cares about that? So this is one of the things that they really should have fixed, right? Because this is a flawed design. Like, Cataclysm comes in and just swipes the whole setup and says, well, now there isn't anything that's going to be called plus damage or plus healing or attack power anymore. You just get that from your base stats, right? So you just have strength, agility, and intellect and spirit and all this stuff. And that's so much better. Like, it's not, I'm not saying that the Cataclysm system is just copy that and leave it, but I am saying you should absolutely learn from the lesson there. Like, again, this is just lazy design. That not taking the time to sit down and see, what have we done that has been successful? What have we done that was wrong in the first place, and then we fixed it later on? Now, we should make sure, again, that we all are on the same page when we say things like what I just said there. Because one thing we know for certain is, ever since J. Allen Brack's ridiculous comment that you think you do but you don't was uttered at that BlizzCon, when that guy asked the question about whether they were going to release something like Classic WoW, and he said that as a response. His follow-up argument was LFD, and that is that Blizzard, like the old team in Blizzard, trying to fix an issue that was not an issue. Like, oh my god, people have to travel to the instances. Yes, people have to invest time in playing this MMO together. And do you know what time investment gives you? It gives you community building. It turns the game from being antisocial to being social. It enforces some level of friendliness and sociability in the player base so that they can, like, make it work with the people they're playing on the server of. This is also, incidentally, why you shouldn't want mega servers, because you want something like player rep to play into how people act on servers. So this is them trying to fix something that was not an issue, and the point there is just that we shouldn't always trust them to be able to fix issues, because sometimes they simply don't know what is best for the game. And so we should be vigilant when we accept anything that they tell us, or when we listen to anything they tell us. Why do I have that? I should have the... Yeah, whatever. What was I saying? Yeah, so we should realize that they are afraid to make changes, because they probably have learned from the fact that, well, J. Allen Brack was, I mean, he's been the laughingstock of that company ever since, right? For that comment specifically. Oh no. Just gonna do that. Yeah. Okay. Ideally, we'd be able to run through here. Yeah, nice. Okay. He has been the laughingstock of that company ever since that comment, because it is such a ridiculous statement. It's so dumb, and it's so inconsiderate towards the player base. As in, he literally said that, you remember how you stood around in Orgrimmar or Stormwind or whatever he said, and you were just spamming, looking for a tank, looking for a tank, looking for a tank. You don't remember that, but you used to have to do that as part of getting a group together. And now you just press a button. As in, the engineer way of thinking it is, why don't we alleviate this issue from the player who has to spend this amount of time getting frustrated with not being able to find groups for whatever it is that he wanted to do. Now, we can all sympathize with being that player. We have all been that player at one point or another in our careers of playing multiplayer games, I'm sure. But it is not true to suggest that there is nothing lost when you introduce something like that. It is simply not the truth to say that this is a better game before having LFD in it. As we can no doubt tell by the fact that, like, the first thing that I realized when I started playing Warlords of Draenor was they wanted to instance the whole world away. Like, they really want you to not interact with other players. You should be allowed to just play this game solo. And I think this has to do with the fact that what they really want to cultivate is a player base that is there to act as more or less window dressing. As in, you're online to keep others online. And who are these other people? Well, they are the cash shop whales. So they don't really care, and I'm talking retail here, about you and your subscription as much as they care about the cash shop whales that are here because you're also here, making it look multiplayer, right? So you are the window dressing that keeps the real customers in line and engaged. And we all know that engagement is the word of the day in tech industries these days. So this is the way that they perceive us to some extent. I'm absolutely certain of that. And that's also why they're not allocating more resources than they think is necessary to try and make sure that there's some level of retainment within this area of the game. What they're really annoyed by with Classic WoW is the fact that this is less monetizable. Definitely less monetizable than the retail version of the game. And that is, I think that is within our power as subscribers, as players, to try and change. Like, I refuse to subscribe to Blizzard products for the longest time because I didn't feel like they were doing anything to try and retain me as a player. I refuse to just play retail because that's the version of WoW, this franchise or IP that I love, that I think is cool. For the longest time, because I felt like they were doing what I just described. I felt like they were using me to pad out a game world for other players that they were exploiting. And let's get one thing straight, by the way. It is absolutely exploitation what's happening with those people. Like, people who are addicted to the game loop to such an extent that they will enter into a cash shop and like basically put down like payments that eventually amount to a down payment on a house is just ridiculous. And the fact that private companies are allowed to exploit people like this is just it's to the point of criminality. Like, it might be legal at the moment, but it certainly should not be. And we really should have tougher legislation in this area. Anyway, that's a whole other video that I might make at some point. Back to Season of Discovery. We should have more dungeons. We really should. Like, Ungoro doesn't have a dungeon. It easily could have. Look at how many mountain ranges you have. There are so many places where you could put an instance. You could do something like an early Ankiraj thing with the Silithid, right? Down here. There's so many things that they could do. Hyjal is not open yet. Why is Hyjal not open? This is supposed to be Classic Plus. Everyone knows that we want to see Hyjal. That's the whole point of this, right? That is the point of doing something like Classic Plus. You will want to see those zones that were cordoned off to you, right? You want to see Gilneas down here, right? You want to not that. You want to see Grim Batol over there. That has to become something cool. It absolutely does. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see if we can. That was tricky. Okay, fair enough. We're doing that then. Oh no! Don't aggro. Nice, thank you. Okay, and he cleared the whole area, so we're gonna have more spawns in a moment. Yeah, that's one. So that's awkward. They absolutely should do more dungeon wise. Like that is what we're here for. That's why we're in this game mode. We want to see new content. We want to see the world expanded upon, and they're not doing it. Like Ashar Crater, like the battleground that they've been talking about since vanilla, and they talked about it in, I think, Burning Crusade, and then they spoke about it again in Mist of Pandaria, I think. Not that I played that expansion much. I mean, pandas are the worst thing that they ever put into this game. I know about Warcraft 3, thank you very much. It was also the worst thing there. Yeah, so why are we accepting this, like, launch before launch of Vanilla Plus or Classic Plus if it doesn't have any new dungeons, it doesn't have any new battlegrounds, it doesn't have anything new when it comes to expanding upon the best part of vanilla? And the best part of vanilla is the world design, the raids and the world design, right? And the world design comes before the raids, by the way. Like, and I get that like one way of addressing that could be something like looking at old instances that were not all that well visited, like Black Fathom Deeps, like breathing new light into that, making sure more people saw that instance. It wasn't that well visited by Alliance, and you could say the same for Gnomebragen and the Horde. So I guess it made sense to do it in the way that they did it. But we all know that just like how I said that you can't do Classic Plus without accepting the fact that people will be expecting certain things. Like, there are certain elements that have just been part of the community discourse that Blizzard absolutely does know about ever since vanilla, and it should be something that they understand to the point of wanting to supply it, or at least they know that the expectation is there, right? They have to deliver on some level on the unfulfilled promises of vanilla. And like the Portal and Stormwind is another good example. There clearly was supposed to be an instance or a raid there, right? And they're not doing anything of that sort. Karazhan Crypts is another big one. Everyone is sort of expecting that that's going to be announced at some point, and then they're going to do that. And they absolutely should. Like, there's no way that they should be able to get away with not doing Karazhan Crypts, like, for no reason at all. But we should have seen more. Like, 4 phases in, we get 1 new dungeon, and everyone's off like enjoying themselves, thinking about how this new dungeon is gonna like make up for all the shit that they haven't put in Season Discovery, right? Like shoving in a bit of TBC, Wrath, and Cataclysm spells, and then that's it? Like, that's all we need? Are you serious? Are you that easily placated? You really should not be. Like, you should demand more from this company that you have given so much money to over the years, right? It doesn't make any sense to let them off the hook easy. Because we have made sure, we have put them in a position. We have put them in a position where they should be able to do better than what they have done. And this is what I think is the core of the issue with Season Discovery. It's too lazy. It's far too lazy. This company has the ability to do better. And we've seen them do better. We know they can do better. We are playing a version of something that was performed much better and with much higher level of dedication and actual game design put into it, right? Instead of we're just returning to the basis of some dudes doing whatever they think is cool. Clearly these dudes are not as good as the dudes we had back then doing whatever they think is cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I think it's okay. I think we should be... Holy shit, he did that quickly. Yeah, I'm just saying we should be... It should be okay to suggest that they have more to live up to. Like, this is not a sufficient level of dedication to see from them, given what this sort of product could be. So yeah, calm down, man. I'm not gonna steal it from you. I feel like he held back there. No, but I think it's okay to suggest that we want to see them do better. We know that they can do better. We want to see them do better. Like making up silly, weird excuses like we simply cannot make changes to the talent trees. It's not true. This is not true. It's a lie. It's an obvious lie. They know it's a lie. It's a different way of saying the higher ups have not given me the manpower I need to make this change to the game. And it's okay that I guess the front people or the big profiles like Agrand or whatever, that they can't say the things with their own mouths. Like that's just the corporate speak that we should be used to at this point. It's fair enough that they can't say it, but we should be allowed to say it. We should be telling each other right after any sort of announcement from Blizzard, these are the things that they were not allowed to say or couldn't say that we should all be aware of the fact that they would have wanted to say. Because obviously the developers follow Guillermo del Toro's comment there with anything is possible, it's just the bastards with the money won't let us do it. He once said that about, I think it was in a talk with Hideo Kojima. And that really is the truth. Like, we know it's the whole issue stems from the fact that there are higher ups at Blizzard who think this is not where we want players to go. We understand that we had to do Classic because everyone is hammering our door to do it. So we had to do it, and now we're sort of stuck in a loop where we have to provide it all the time because otherwise our customers are going to get mad, and we're going to lose retail players. And again, as I said, to some extent, you are here to serve as window dressing for the real customers, the whales, and they make way more money from those than they do from your single subscription. Way more. So you're helping them exploit vulnerable people, really, in that sense. Not willingly, perhaps not even knowingly until just now, I guess. And that's the exculpatory part of that situation, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, again, I'm too many threads are going on here. What I wanted to say, like, bottom of the line is, it's okay to expect them to do better, to demand better, and say this should be improved. This is not up to your usual standard, Blizzard. You should not yourselves be satisfied with what you've sold us here, and we want to see you do better. As in, eventually we're gonna unsub, or you're gonna lose more of your otherwise very dedicated player base, unless you shape up and do this better, right? Because clearly we saw that there were a lot of people who lost interest during Phase 3. Phase 3 took forever. It has only one new raid, and that raid drops loot that's so good that there's no reason to do any of the other instances. It's terrible game design. And on top of that, you had incursions providing everyone with a starter set that's, I mean, it's so good that you might as well just buy that set, and that will serve you until 60. Like, that will literally serve you past some level 60 content, some level 60 gear. So, really, they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. And again, as I said, I think it's a manpower issue, because I think they want to do better. I think they have the developers. I think someone like Agrand, he knows that this is a massive thing for people, that this is not just an entertainment product that people are subscribing to in order to consume and like push their day ahead or whatever it is. This is something greater, right? This is a way of realizing some of Tolkien's vision, which was to craft a world that people can take a part in, right? That is what Warcraft ideally can be. It is what it has been. It's what it's been for a while, and for the people that still enjoy retail, that's probably what it still is for those people, to some extent. And it's the same with the era enjoyers, or vanilla enjoyers, or classic enjoyers, or whatever it is, right? All the people here, all the people that are playing, are doing it because they want this version of the game to be the best it can be. And I'm saying that it can be better. It can be better than this, and if you think about it for just a brief time, I'm sure you'll come to agree with my point. That this is not the best that a billion-dollar company that once made this product can do. Like, maybe this is the best that the current Blizzard can do, but then they should hire more people. They should spend some of all the money we have given them to improve on this product that we are still willing to pay for them to serve us with, right? It's okay to expect more. It's okay to demand more. Really, it is. So that was a really long rant without any... well, I suppose I did have a target. There was a bullseye somewhere. And that was that, again, as I said, the whole point of this video is to say that it's okay to expect more of a company as successful as Blizzard. Like, maybe if it was a small little rinky-dink indie company, you couldn't, but this is Blizzard. This is Activision Blizzard. It's one of the true monoliths in the industry. They can do better than this. And if they can't at the moment, they should hire more people so that they can do it. Because it is not it's not outside of their reach. They have a very dedicated player base who's ready with all sorts of tips and personal observations and just their side of things, which can help them move in the correct direction. I'm certain that is the truth here. Yeah. So anyway, long rant. The point is, expect more from Blizzard because they should deliver more. Better talent trees. Let's see some new dungeons, Blizzard. Seriously. One is not sufficient. One is insufficient. And don't just revamp old instances. Don't just revamp old content. Actually put some work in, put some effort in, and make this what we all expected that it would be. Because you can do it. We believe in you. We know you can do it. we have literally put you in a position where it would be almost impossible for you to fail at this if you just put in the work. We have done everything but hire the people for you that should do this job. So that's it. I hope this was of some use, and I'm sure I'll rant about this again in the future, because it is something that that I think is important when it comes to this game. Obviously, gaming is whatever, but you know, when we're inside the bubble of thinking that this game is important and what they deliver to us is important, this part of it is the important stuff. This is where we get the better product out of this game that we spend so much time on. So that's it. Thank you.